Oh no.
If you guys hear anything, I apologize. My wife can't be trusted with an open mic.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast. How was everybody feeling today, man? Hopefully, everybody's enjoying their weekend. We are back with another amazing show. It's been a jam-packed week. We got a special guest, so I'll let him introduce himself
Nuclear
in a
launch
minute.
detected.
I know, right? I'll let him go ahead and introduce himself in a second. But everybody, thank you guys for hanging out with us. You guys show up and show out every single weekend. We appreciate the love and support. You guys keep bringing the heat, keep bringing the people in every single week, man. You guys are amazing. So let's just get to our guest of the honor, a guest of the hour, I should say. I'm sorry. Guest of the hour, I should say. Essentially, he has been on the show before. It has been a little bit of time, since he's been on the podcast. But this guy is one of the biggest, man. He's super huge, super amazing, super supportive of the show here. He's always been a good friend of mine as well. So go ahead and give yourself a shout out, Dealer. Not that everybody here don't know who you are, but if you don't, here's your chance to meet the man. So what's up, Dealer? How you doing today, brother?
Guest of the honor.
I
like it. Yeah, it's good to be here, man. It's I was supposed to be your last week, but I'm a fraud. But thanks for having me on, man. There's a lot of interesting things happening, and people are losing their minds over shit that was common sense. And what do you mean the games are going to PC? What the fuck do you think they wanted to do? So
they don't want to make money, bro. Come on.
That's why they're there. Jim Ryan ain't holding your hand with a warm cup of milk at night while you sleep. You're a money sign to him, just like we're all money signs, right? So that's going to be a very good topic, and I'm sure that's there. But yeah, thanks for having me, brother.
I'd appreciate it, man. Appreciate you coming on, taking some time out, man. It's always amazing to have you on the show, man. So let's get to my compatriots here. So Stag, let everybody know what's going on with you, brother. How's your week been?
It's been an interesting week, for sure, with all the stuff Dealer just brought up and people losing their shit. We'll definitely dive into some of that tonight, but man, I just been doing the same old shit, just streaming and tweeting out random bullshit and having a good time.
Awesome. Appreciate you, man, taking some time out today as well, man. Once again, go follow him on the stream, man. Amazing streamer. If you want to see indies, you want to see a good variety of games, go follow him. Hit him up on Twitch, man. Awesome show. Puts on a great stream. But Centurion, man, what's going on with you? I know you got the videos coming. What's been popping with those, man?
Oh, man. Well, I'm always working on something now that I've had my work life calm down. But at any rate, it is awesome to be here with you guys. I look forward to being here every Saturday, chatting up games. And we get to sit here with the guy who actually showed me a little bit of the in and outs of YouTube dealer gaming. My hat goes off to him. He is the man of the hour, because I would not be sitting here if it wasn't for him, because he actually introduced you to me.
Yeah.
PTK. So, yeah.
It's a little background information there. Movie details. Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it's going to be fun. We're going to be serving some cheese with our Twitter wine tonight. And I don't know if Dealer Gaming heard, but PlayStation is going to be including a check printer on the PS5. So that way all the people that think they're stockholders are going to get their cut.
I mean, a lot of good stuff there, but do you dip your cheese in the wine, or do you kind of do like a sampling of both at the same time?
I heard you use a blender.
Because Luca, she eats grapes, so she dips them in milk. She does a little different. She dips her grapes in milk. So ask her about that on Twitter.
They got to worry about getting dirt and grass on their cheese while they're dipping it in the wine, because they're having to, like what Stagger says, going to have to go put down new grass for the goalpost.
Oh my goodness!
They're off in a different stadium in a different city,
and we are off to a fast start here on the podcast, everybody. But last but not least,
we are fucking X-botting up.
Last but not least, everybody, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, man, the thing to kind of smooth us over and calm us down, the voice of reasoning. What's going on, Fuzzy?
Very right.
Not much. Been pretty interesting news, like everybody's mentioned prior. So it's going to be interesting to talk about today. But glad to be here. Glad to be here with Dealer. Thanks for joining us. And man, let's get it. Let's get into these topics.
Let's get it, man. Let's get it, man. So let's go ahead and just dive right the fuck in. Once again, everybody, as you file in, hit the like button on your way in. Retweet the link. Bring everybody, as many people as possible in here. You guys want to talk games? We are live and active in the chat, so hit us up, man. And everything I'm talking about is for you guys as well, not just to the panel. So let us know how you guys feel about these topics. So let's dive right the fuck in. And we will start with the poll of the week this week. Now, this was completely coincidental when I made this poll of the week. This was early Monday morning before we got the official PS5 news, and it just happened to come out right after I put out this tweet, essentially. So we actually gonna segue into this. We're gonna make this 2 topics instead of 1. So the poll of the week was: we are 6 months away from E3, and Sony has not officially announced they will be there. What if Sony skips E3 2020? Now, once again, mind you, this was prior to us actually getting that information, so it's probably going to be pretty redundant. So, as far as the poll goes, majority of the people said it was going to be a bad look for Sony. That was 62%. 21% said it didn't matter. Another 14% said they're probably going to have a pre-E3 event, and 3% said they will be there. So obviously we know the answer to that now, but I want to just get a feeler for you. We'll start with you, Dealer, on about, prior to getting that news that morning, we hadn't heard anything. They hadn't talked about E3 at all. They didn't give any indication that they were gonna be at E3. We were all just assuming that they were because the PS5 is coming out. So prior to them saying, hey, we're not gonna be here, what was your feelings going towards that, or what option would you have picked if you voted on the poll?
I mean, it definitely makes sense, right? And none of us can say we'd be surprised, right? That's what I mean by that.
Yeah.
They've definitely social media, right? You can get your own message out there. You don't got to pay $20 million, $10 million to do it. Yeah. Microsoft had their own building across the street, so that's probably a big factor for them. But I genuinely believe they have something to prove this year, and I think they really half-assed it last year because Sony did pull out. But this year, they cannot do that again. No matter what, Sony not there. They probably will never go again. Sony will probably never go again. But Microsoft this year need to really show us what's coming. Big games. No more Bambi Simulator. None of that shit. Some big stuff you're buying a $500 box for.
Okay. Well, I great opinion. I think
I turned that into something about Xbox.
No, it's all good.
Yeah,
it's
man. Yeah.
No, it makes sense. Once again, like I was just thinking about this the day I made that topic, or just essentially that poll was like, wait, we haven't heard anything. Sony hasn't said shit. We're just all assuming that they're gonna go because this new console is coming out, and then lo and behold, boom, they say they're not going to the event, so it kind of finalizes what we've all been thinking along the time. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Stag. I know you voted on the poll. Well, I think you voted on the poll. It's been like 6 weeks in a row you have, so I was assuming you went ahead and
concept of time is an interesting thing.
I know, right? Ain't that a bitch? But either way, but either way, man, which one of those options did you choose? Obviously, prior to knowing that they weren't gonna go.
Options, things. I think I said the third one.
Okay,
but
and that was.
Yeah, I don't have it pulled up right now, so I can't remember.
It was. They will be there. They'll be there.
Maybe I didn't say that. I don't remember.
He's like, that was like a week ago. Maybe I didn't say that one.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I don't think they need to be there. Yeah. I think it's a disservice to their fans to not be there. I don't think that they're going to get the pull and the hands-on that they would get at E3 that they might get at their own event. I think they're going to get more viewers from a live stream, whatever, thingamabobber that like Xbox. Fucking presentation. I can't come up with the right words now. But I think they'd get more viewers at E3 than they will get at their own event. But at the same token, like, Sony does what they want, right? I mean, they've made that abundantly clear. Just like Nintendo. Nintendo does what they want. They don't care. I mean, all three of these companies really do what they want. They have their own roadmaps and they're going to do what they want. But I really, really, really believe that if I was a Sony fanboy, now I like Sony. I have a PlayStation 4. I don't play it nearly as much as my Xbox or even the Switch. But if I was a diehard Sony fanboy, I would be upset that as a fan of your platform, and I have put a ton of money into it, which not all of them do, but that you aren't paying me back as a fan by coming to one of the biggest in the country gaming conventions. You know what I mean? Like, and letting us get our hands on your product. I think that's a little bit of a slap in the face to that base that's given them a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way I look at it. Like, it's I think Xbox goes out of their way to give the appearance that they love the fans and they want to give back to the fans, because at the end of the day, it's all about the bottom line and making money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it costs a lot of money to do that event too, but Xbox recognizes that the exposure is good, and Sony doesn't. I don't know. I don't understand why they don't feel like they need to do it. And I don't know if they're like, we've heard some stuff about ESA and Sony has kind of like a little bitter feud going on and stuff like that. So I just, it's not like, Shansu's saying Sony has the fucking money. I mean, they're investing in a goddamn electric car, which personally I think is going to fail. So,
hey, that's where the money went, bro.
I mean, like everybody was all like, concept car, it's so amazing. I'm like, here's a list of like 100 concept cars that were never made. I mean, it's
a bunch
a whole
of
other topic. Yeah, I mean, I'll admit it. I am, but
I'm just kidding.
It's all good, bro. It's all good. I don't really take this shit personally.
We're gonna park that car next to the patent for the.
I hope I can play my PlayStation 4 in it.
Can
I get Game Pass in my Sony car? That's all I want to know.
PS Now.
But it just, I wish they would support their fans a little bit more in the sense of that. But I mean, granted, they go to all the other ones, so it's not like they don't do it. You know,
that's true.
So I just don't understand why this specific one. They're like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't fit with our vision.
Well, you know what?
What the fuck does that mean?
We talked about this, and me and you talked about this, and we were on the same wavelength. Even to end the year talking about Sony doesn't necessarily. I don't know if this is a reactionary move based on what Xbox did as far as showing the console early, and maybe them understanding, hey, Xbox is doing this thing a little differently this time around. I doubt it was a reactionary move because to skip the event, I mean, thinking about it, guys, we didn't get any information. Sony had not talked about E3 at all. They hadn't even tweeted about E3 at all. So
they've skipped PSX for 2 years.
Yeah,
in a
exactly.
row.
Exactly.
And keep in mind too, this could be a factor, but Sony know what's in the Xbox, right?
They all know what each other has.
They know. Microsoft knows what's in their PlayStation. That's definitely not going to help them be motivated to go up there and talk about this thing that is, obviously it's going to be cheaper, but it's going to get outperformed. And why do you buy a next gen console? Because that performance, obviously. You're gonna have games that support it, blah blah blah. And that's not going to be something that's going to help them. It's going to be kind of like the Pro, right?
Well, remember, they did come out and say that if that's one of the caveats to them doing any kind of show is that if we don't have anything, they said this is an executive right out of Sony's mouth. We don't have anything to show. We're not doing a show.
They got stuff to show, though.
So
I mean, they're working on
the rumors is they're going to say something in like 3 weeks. That's the rumor now.
Yeah,
so.
now obviously there may be some type of like month-long event, leading up to some kind of, PSX type event. So we've been hearing about that as well. But let me go ahead and get to Centurion and Fuzz so they can get their opinions in on this as well. So we'll go with you, Centurion, on this about the poll. Obviously, where'd you vote? And this being prior to us getting the information that Sony wasn't going. So which one did you vote for and why?
Well, I originally voted for them being there because never in my wildest dreams did I would think that Sony would call off E3 on a console launch year, but I was obviously proved wrong. Jim Ryan and them are obviously out of their damn minds. I don't, I went on a debate with this on Saltiest Gaming about, I understand that the building is out of date. It's expensive to be there, blah, blah, blah. There's just all these things that benefit Sony not being there.
In regards to the ESA?
Yeah. Well, there's all these things about, how it benefits Sony for not, would somebody get socked in the face?
Oh, a few times.
So anyways, there's a lot of things that would benefit Sony from not being there. I understand that.
Yeah.
But when you are the number one market share leader, you don't get to play the game the same way as people in second and third place. You got to play like you're in first place because at this point, you aren't catering to your fans. I feel like you're also missing the mark on competition because I'm an Xbox guy. If I'm at E3, I'm going to go to my Xbox events and kind of walk over to PlayStation and see what they got. And maybe they can hook me in, some other guys that have been supposedly hooked in. But at any rate,
oh shit,
bang,
you figured it out.
But that's the whole thing. Like, I am not going to go specifically out of my way to go to a PlayStation event unless by some chance it ends up here in Phoenix, Arizona, which I highly doubt. And also to point it out, I don't care how many events they're going to have. Like, like their whole thing with, E3, we're not going to be there, but we're having an event right now in New York. Well, great. Let me just call my boss and tell him I'm going to take off the next week and I'm going to fly to New York and blah, blah, blah. That's so short notice, in my opinion. I love the fact that I know E3 is in June. Blam, you're going to E3.
Yep.
It's in June. We all know it's in June. So we're able to plan our finances and our life around the idea of going to the biggest gaming event in North America. and we're able to do that in June. But now it's just like, oh, we're going to have to keep our eyes peeled on Sony just to know when there's going to be a pop-up event. I'm perfectly
just watch the state of play.
I'm just perfectly fine with streaming everything at this point when it comes to PlayStation.
Slightly arrogant.
I know I'm an Xbox guy. I was going to buy both consoles when they came out at the end of the year. But now I'm kind of just leaning towards, I know I'm going to get my Xbox, but I feel like I should just sit back and wait and see what happens with PlayStation, because they haven't really shown me anything but a logo that everybody and their grandmother had already cooked up last year. Even Dealer knows that. There's just
and that logo runs on the PS4, by the way. So tell me that.
Come on, man.
So
Cross-gen logos.
Well, wait a minute.
Cross-gen logos.
Actually, Dealer, it doesn't run on the PS4 because they did
Halo Infinite's held back by the iPhone 3GS. You're here first.
But no, the logo doesn't play on the PS4 because they did it in UHD.
Well, they checkerboarded it.
I think that Intellivision Amigo is going to hold them all back. So,
oh my goodness, you guys are too much. Shots fired, man.
Shit, I'm actually hyped about that. But that's
I was going to say I got an interview with that guy tomorrow. As a matter of fact,
dude, I don't care what anybody says. That shit looks fucking fun.
Oh my gosh, you're an indie fanatic.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but I do love indies. So I'm a fucking gamer. Give me any of them.
Let's not put a label on it.
Yeah.
So, Centurion, I don't want to cut you off if you were done with
I'm going to cut
off. We're obviously going off the rails. I've made my speech.
We started off the rails for the man in honor. I mean, come on.
The man in honor.
I feel like we getting one of them every week, so I got to fix that.
So wait a minute. Dealers, who's honored man?
Oh, here we go. Come on. None of us is getting married today, all right? That was my fault. But no. So, yeah, no, you right up. We got a lot of great points there. A lot of great points in Centurion about. And the one big thing that I don't like, and my whole problem with this was that it's not even the fact Sony's not going, because we talked about that, for podcast weeks on end that they may not be at the show. Honestly, I don't think it's going to hurt them whatsoever. Now, obviously, in our eyes, it may, shed a little bit of a different light, but I don't think it's going to hurt them ultimately. At the end of the day, when the system comes out, it's going to sell what it sells. It's going to do what it does. But I don't like the fact that we're devaluing the entire event based on one company not being there. That's what I have a problem with, because we all know, we've seen the numbers. You can go look at them yourself. They've been posted all throughout the week. There's nothing that comes close. You can say, oh, well, they're going to do their own show. It's going to be just as big. It's going to reach just as many people. The numbers don't say that. The data's not saying that. I mean, Sony's not. I've never seen a state of play or an XO event, or hell, even the VGAs do some of the stream numbers. That
can I add something?
Go ahead.
Oh,
no, I just wanted to point out, because you just reminded me. Like with the whole label thing, I hate using the word casual gamer, but if we talk about the average person who keeps up with gaming, doesn't know about CES, doesn't know about the developer conference in March, doesn't know about all these other events that occur, but the minute you say E3 in that crowd, they're like, oh, that gaming convention. So it also just goes into showing that anybody who kind of casually keeps up with gaming knows about E3, and they don't know about these other events that Sony has been attending.
Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Go ahead.
All these numbers being thrown out too, and it's like it really shows like in the last week and a half with this whole like Sony's not going to E3, and a certain Kotaku, however you fucking say that gaming site's name, editor saying it's the halls were half empty and numbers were way down, and then you look up the actual information. In 2008, there was like less than 10,000 people at E3. You know what I mean? And now there was 69,000 in 2018. Last year it was 66,000. But hey, a fucking dying event. Like
ridiculous.
Almost 70,000 fucking people. And don't get me wrong, like the shit in other countries, they get like hundreds of thousands of people, and that's great. But to say an event is dying when the numbers are actually trending up and it only lost 3,000 from one year to the next is kind of.
It's ridiculous.
It shows a clear media bias, and then when he came out and said about the possibility of, HZD going to fucking PC, about how it's Sony's ushering an unprecedented agnostic future. It's like, oh, you fucking shithead. You've been shitting all over Xbox for the same thing. It bugs me because it all ties into that media bias of this is dying, but if if this one thing went there, it would be so much better. Like, shut up.
Yeah, nobody has a problem with anybody playing a PlayStation. We all got PS4s, PS4 Pros, done reviews on several games. The problem is when that person's a hypocrite or, lying hypocrite, even worse. Otherwise, no one would give a fuck. Good job. God of War is my favorite game of the generation. That or Witcher 3. Like, join the club. They got some good stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why we've been so critical for Microsoft to get some big games out there like that.
Yeah.
And as a result, they're working on some stuff. Right? It's an effect.
I think they've answered the bell. I mean, we need to see what they've answered that bell with, but they have definitely been putting in the work the last 2 years, in my opinion, for setting themselves up for the future.
Exactly, and I think they've done a lot of things. Dealer, I'm sure you can piggyback off of this as well. Is that we've been extremely critical of Xbox. You can go back, check the archives. Did this show, Dealer show, a lot of other shows as well. We've been ultra critical of the brand over time, and they've actually come out and made some adjustments. First, we get in the studios. I mean, think about how on top of these leaks they've been. Dealer, remember? That's the shit we used to talk about that they didn't do. These leaks used to drop, and they would just kind of let it go, and then it would just kind of take on a mind of its own. They're squashing shit as soon as it comes out. Any bad information? Oh, nope, that's not us. We didn't say that. We didn't officially back that. They're squashing all of that shit. So they are making some active changes, even on the market side as well, that we talked about that they need to do. So they're doing a lot of things that we asked them to do, and we can't jump back and forth. We got to be consistent here. If we're gonna ask them to do things and they take the liberty of doing those things, we gotta give them the right type of energy for going in that direction, in my opinion. So
it's similar to like gamers getting pissed off about bugs in games and releasing unfinished games, and then on the flip side of that, they're also pissed off when you delay a game. It's like, come on, man.
That's crazy.
What do you want?
Fickle. We're fickle. Gamers are the most fickle set of people I've ever seen in my entire life. Even outside of people that love sports, outside of fanatics for other things. Yeah, they're even more fickle. The only thing I can think of are like people that are like cell phone fanatics that are into this.
I think the movie people, it might be some of the worst.
The movie, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
movies is pretty bad, but yeah, you're right. So let's get to Fuzzy. I don't want to forget you in this.
Fuzzy. Sorry.
I don't want to forget you, Fuzz. So yeah, what's going on with the? What do you feel about, first of all, prior to them coming out and saying that, hey, we're not going to be there? Would you vote on the poll?
I'll keep it quick. I thought they were going to do a pre-E3 event as well as do E3. I just figured new hardware. Their statement before was that they were not going to really attend E3 because they didn't have anything to show. Well, now they have something to show, although I figured they would at least unveil it prior and, just make their appearance, at the hall for the fans and as well as the press. But the press has opportunities at other locations, but at least for the US fans, this would have probably been the easiest event for them to attend.
Absolutely.
And even if they did something where it's outside the halls, like across the street, almost like the Microsoft Theater type of thing, that's fine too. But to not be there all together, possibly they'll do their normal marketing media stuff where they'll have some sort of either trailer release or they'll have some sort of like subway car covered with something to that effect. They didn't do anything
last year though, so
they didn't do
true.
Anything, so yeah,
they stuck to their word and didn't do anything.
But
sorry, go on.
It just seems like. I don't know. Have both consoles. Was hoping that they would do something at E3. Not that I was going to E3 this year, but if I was going to E3 this year, I would be a little bit more disappointed considering that, it like me being a car fan. I go to like SEMA every so often, or even the auto show, and it's like if Ford decided it's not going to be at the auto show, yeah, I'm more of a Chevy fan than a Ford fan, but why is the Mustang not at the car show?
You want the competition,
Yeah.
So it just seems a little off-putting, or whatever you want to call it, as far as them just not wanting to be there. It's like, okay, fine, have your own events. I guess I'll wait until they have some sort of press release for it, but it would have been nice to plan things, go out to E3, have hands on, and go from there, and possibly do my pre-order the same day because they usually like to do that around E3 time too.
Yeah, nobody disputes do they need it or not. I don't really know anybody who says they absolutely need it.
No,
Microsoft managed to do some harm to themselves, and they were the only one there last year, believe it or not, and to several people when you don't show Gears gameplay and stuff like that. The year comes out and all that stuff. It wasn't perfect, and hopefully they learn from that. But Sony don't need E3. I don't know anybody who really says they do. But we're not looking at it from Sony's perspective, right? We're looking at it from the perspective of a fan of gaming. And I would like to see, Horizon Zero Dawn debuted on that day or whatever. It's all part of that big hype. It's like Christmas morning for gamers, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I pop a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is for everybody who wants to answer, because I'm kind of curious. Do you think this is going to affect how aggressive Xbox would have been at E3?
I'm hoping
not. Great question. I don't think so. I feel like well, at least the vibes I'm getting, and this is very, very limited information. Just I feel like they always go in with some kind of a game plan. Like even the last few years, they have a game plan going into the show, regardless of whether Sony shows up or not. I think that issue still continues, even because.
I was just going to say, rumor is Xbox wanted to go more aggressive last year, but when they realized that Sony truly was not doing anything, they kind of rearranged the chips a little bit and, revealed things at different shows in a different manner. Like, look at the Gears 5 situation.
Yeah, I heard that as well. I don't know how true it is. Obviously, things can be changed. We've seen it throughout the years where people make last-minute adjustments. Sony 2013, we all know what happened then. Let's take this damn camera out the box and say it's $4.99. And 20 minutes left to go before we go on stage. But
the smell of the permanent marker permeating the room because they changed the price on the thing.
But either way, before you get to your Stag, but either way, at the end of the day, I think that it's just something that I think Xbox has a plan. They know where they want to go. I think this is the year. Well, I don't say this is the year because I feel like they've been doing a great job every year at evolving and showing what they have. I feel like they don't really they don't. The way Phil talks about E3, he talks about it the same way every year. It's an exciting event. Everything is for the fans. We want to show what we got. We want to push gaming forward. So they still continue with the same consistent message. So I don't think that changed much of anything for Xbox. So anybody else, Stag, I know you were about to say something here.
So, Centurion, with your question, do you feel, are you leading with, are they going to pull back or are they going to push forward? What's your agenda on that question? Is my question. Like, I'm just so.
Or do you mean it's just going to change the thought in general?
Okay, my thought is, for starters, who's going to be the one that gets ballsy enough to reveal the price of their console? Are we going to have this continue back and forth game of chess where everybody waits till the last minute to reveal anything?
I think they're both going to open up pre-orders sooner than we think. I mean, I think it makes sense to open up pre-orders soon.
Well,
we're all chomping at the goddamn bit.
Here's the only thing. I hate to say it like this, but it's just the way it is. But we all know from generations past that, I hate to say it like this, but Sony is a wuss. They let Microsoft go first because they want to see how they trip so that way they can pivot.
Well, Microsoft chooses to go first every time.
Yeah.
Okay, so
they walk in the room with the L. I mean, this is ours.
Well, and it's right, but it has benefited Sony, and so therefore Sony knows that it's benefited them. So I've heard rumors that this year they wanted Sony to go first. So maybe that could be one of the leading factors on why they pulled out of E3 because they're like, we're going to go first. We want to see.
Matt Booty wasn't kidding when he said they're not doing a head-to-head battle with Sony, and many people took that the wrong way. They don't understand what he's saying. They're launching two systems. Neither of them will be at the same price point as PS5. Nobody is ready for the global scale that's coming for gaming in terms of all this cloud stuff, streaming. Right?
Exactly.
Microsoft are the only ones that are doing streaming, in my opinion, the best way. Combination of local and streaming hardware like your cell phone, whatever. Right? You're on the box, off the box, save comes everywhere. Your games come with you. Right? Game Pass will. Likely everything in Game Pass will be streamable. And they got it set up to where you can play all that same stuff on local hardware if you choose. And they'll have the most powerful box on top of that. Then they double their studios. Like they have they've got a lot set up for the future that I think nobody else is even close to. Not even close to as prepared for the global scale.
I agree with Dealer. I don't think Sony is ready for what's coming. I think they're still stuck. I mean, I feel like the change in leadership is a reaction to what they've seen Xbox doing with pushing Sean out and getting whoever, I can't remember the new guy's name. I know you guys know it, but
Jim Ryan's been there for a while. But
putting him in leadership as the head is, and pushing Sean out it's a change, and I think that was a reactionary move to the fact that Xbox is not going to rely on the console as much as, like, say, Sony has in the past, that they are going to rely on these subscription-based services, and they are attacking the casual gamer by getting on their phones and getting on their tablets instead of saying you're stuck playing at your house on your console.
Well, I mean,
and And a lot of the people a lot of the noise and the chatter that we hear is a lot of people still stuck in console-based home gaming.
They're stuck in 2014.
Or even further in the past. And this is how it's always been, and this is how it's always going to be. And that's just not how the world moves forward.
Exactly. Not even realistic.
See, it's not a problem because it's an option.
No,
if it weren't an option, it would be a problem, right?
The only thing I was really concerned about, like with my question, is if Sony's lack of showing us anything, will Microsoft,
I think it'll change their timeline a little bit.
Yeah. Will Microsoft show just enough, or will they go over and beyond? Because this is the path that Xbox is wanting to follow. I really hope they go over and beyond. I just don't want them. I just don't want them to be like. I just don't want them to have
to. Last year, fuck.
I just don't want them to hold into this ideal of Sony's showed you guys crap, so you should be appreciative for what we've shown.
No, I don't think it's that. I think it's more of it gives them time to just give us more time to be hyped along the line instead of
been hyped for goddamn 3 years
and on it for fucking a month.
We ain't got shit in 3 years except for Gears 5.
I mean, if all you're looking at is AAA titles, sure, I guess you're right in that sense. But if you look at the game,
where Xbox is weakest, because I want them to be the best in every area.
I just focus on all the games. So.
No, I'm not sitting there fucking buying an Xbox One X to play fucking dinky game 5. I'm really interested in Microsoft really coming forward with big budget blockbusters because they've been lagging behind. I mean, it is what it is.
That's an individual thing. So that may be something that you maybe, like you said, that may be something you're looking at as far as where they're weak at. But like you said, at the end of the day, they're setting themselves up and they're going the right direction based on everything that they've done so far. Getting the studios, like you alluded to earlier, Dealer, setting themselves up, getting themselves in position to have the steady stream of whether it be a AAA, quadruple A game. We talk about the initiative all the way down to the indie game. They can do a little bit of everything, being versatile, having games coming out consistently on a 3 to 4 month basis. So I think that they're setting themselves up. Now, whether or not we're going to get these AAAs or even the indies that everybody's looking for, that remains to be seen.
I think we get them for sure.
I think we're definitely in line to get through what we're
I mean, that's what I say. I say they've been really lackluster on AAAs because, again, we had a big blockbuster since Gears 4. And then Gears 5 came out. That was the next one.
Yeah.
So racing games are fine. I'm a big Forza fan. But at the end of the day, when you get Forza very consistently, the best racing franchise there is, in my opinion, it's not so special anymore because it's the only thing you've been getting. And you've gotten Crackdown. I played State of Decay. I didn't enjoy Sea of Thieves or anything like that. But I'm ready for that next Halo, and I'm also ready for that Fable game, even that new Hellblade. I'm ready for
some new experiences.
I'm ready for some bigger stuff, man. It's time.
Nothing wrong with that.
Ready for whatever the hell the initiative's working on. That's really, I think a lot of us are focused on that. I mean, and then there's the whole it's going to be a year or two before we get a lot of these games, even after the console launches, because these big games take 3 to 5 years to make.
They do, yeah.
And everybody's freaking out about that. And it's like, whoa, even your Sony games take 2 to 5 years to make.
And that's actually,
you definitely can't build the time machine and force that stuff to speed up.
Exactly.
But if you want it I think it's important to double down on the fact that that's where Xbox should focus a little more of, and they know that internally. So they went after Obsidian, good score, right? Ninja Theory, good score. That team's going to get bigger. They're very aware of this, and I might talk about something later in the show that I talked about on my own podcast, but something that I'm like 80% sure on, and it's fucking huge. So, we might talk about that.
Yeah, we'll drop that nugget a little bit later. Let's go ahead and just transition on to the next topic because everything we've been talking about so far is kind of leading right up into this anyway. And this is something that's been bothering the shit out of me, and I haven't really talked about it much on Twitter because I just don't like to get into the back and forth on Twitter. And this is about this whole cross-gen games limiting new hardware. And the whole idea that these games are going to be held back. So my thing is, before we dive into you and get you going, Dealer, is that it never happens the way we think it happens. It never neuters the games the way we think it neuters these games. Because if that was the case, people wouldn't have bought GTA 6 times. You know what I'm saying? That game came out on 360. I don't even like GTA 5, and I bought it again twice on the new hardware. And same thing, you can say the same thing for The Last of Us. Imagine when somebody sits down and plays The Last of Us 2, which is coming out in a couple months, the first thing they're thinking, you know what, I wish they would have held this back and put it on PS5. Nobody has that thought. Nobody's sitting there going to play that game saying, man, I wish they would have held it back because I know it would have been way better if they would have just put it on the PS5. Nobody's going to say that sitting down playing that game. Or Ghost of Tsushima, which is coming out probably side by side with the damn PS5 or just about side by side with it. So nobody ever has those thoughts when they're sitting there playing these games. And if you don't think Sony's going to put out a definitive edition of The Last of Us 2 for PS5, an upgraded version, you're a damn fool. They're absolutely going to. Oh, yeah. They're absolutely definitive. They did it for the first one. We got the definitive edition on PS4.
Well, they charge you for that one.
Exactly. What I'm saying is that they're definitely going to double dip. They're going to double dip at some point. So all I'm saying is that you could say, hey, this hardware is being held back by these games. I don't think it ever gets held back to the extent that most of us think. But go ahead, dealer. Let me throw that question over to you, brother.
Oh no, I mean, I know about a mandate from Microsoft right now. It's in an interview that hasn't come out yet. Mm-hmm. Developers are not allowed to charge for upgrade patches to the Series X. It's a mandate, right? Mm-hmm. You can't do it. And I think because, and obviously, even before that mandate, like I was telling Rand, because he kind of thought, oh, they're going to charge for this stuff. And I kind of saw some of his points. But I'm like, Rand, they don't do it now. They don't do it on PC. You know, the hardware, the patch, the upgrade in the software is there. You flip a switch, you do a little bit of extra optimization, etc. Blah, blah, blah. Nothing's that simple, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah. The games taking advantage of the new hardware is a big incentive for that new hardware. You're not going to make me buy this bitch and then charge me for the damn patch too. And if that did happen, it's never really been done. It's never been done like that before. Yeah. And I think the industry people would explode. Yeah. Imagine getting imagine if I upgraded my 2080 to a 3080 when it comes out, and then they want to charge me to unlock those extra graphic settings, or double the resolution or whatever.
That'd be a little worse than a loot box.
Yeah, it's very anti-consumer. So I don't think they would go that way, and I think Sony will mandate the same thing. And for the simple fact that Microsoft are not doing it and they're not allowing people to do it, I don't think you'll see it come from Sony. So I think they'll simply patch Last of Us 2, God of War, all their stuff, and that'll be a big incentive. Hey, upgrade. You can play it at 60 FPS with a couple extra bells and whistles, right? And they don't really have a PC version, which is actually going to come back and hold those games back. If anything's going to hold those games back on PS5, it's the fact that you don't have an ultra high-end version running on a PC. Halo Infinite will have all of the settings in the world on PC day one, and they're going to basically give you that game running on high ultra on the Series X at 4K.
Pretty much.
That's actually going to help them leverage that platform, whereas Sony would actually have to go in and perhaps maybe optimize and develop some, implement some better visuals that right now they don't even have it on PC. So it's not like they have all that stuff built right now. They have it built for one box and it's doing what it can. But when it comes to holding stuff back, the thing that we've said is this will not hold back game visuals, right?
Yeah.
Visuals scale on the GPU, about 98% of them, right? Even things like Tessellation Coalition moved over to the GPU to free up CPU resources for Gears 5 on the Xbox One X. It's how they achieve the frame rate and all that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So GPUs can be upgraded. That power can be leveraged. What can be held back is game design. And if things were cross-gen for 4 or 5 years, developers really started saying, I got new ideas and this game requires physics that are absolutely impossible, cannot be done on current stuff. We can't build a game like that and leverage it on the new hardware. Yeah, that would be the case. But nobody's talking about gameplay design. They're saying games visuals, even talking about how Halo Infinite doesn't look good. When they say it, games visuals will be held back.
Yeah.
And that's not accurate. So gameplay design is the thing that can be held back. That's the thing that Horizon Zero Dawn developer said, we wanted to implement flight. That was a CPU and hard drive limitation that held them back from putting flight in the game. Mm-hmm. Not, any kind of GPU stuff.
Got it.
So, whatever.
No. That's a great breakdown. I don't know who's supposed to follow that up, but for real, that's a great.
I'm not
going
to try. So
yeah, I know it's definitely not going to be as in depth as that, but it is your turn, Stag.
When I saw the chat right now while he was talking, so I didn't hear everything you said, dealer. Which I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah, I do. I try and do both, but sometimes my brain can only focus one way. I don't want to repeat anything you've said, but there's been some devs coming out that say they'll be able to do both, right? And that it won't impact the games. But I don't know. I fucking don't know. I just looking forward to the new system and whatever the hell.
Exactly.
I don't care. Like fuck it. If I don't have to sit at a goddamn load screen like I did with Call of Cthulhu, and those graphics were not that fucking great. I never understood. Like I get Gears 5 or Halo to load up way faster, and that game takes fucking 3 minutes to load up, and I'm like, it looks like dog shit. I'm really enjoying the game, but it looks like dog shit. So I'm just looking forward to new stories, new experiences, and no load times. I mean, and a smaller console. So I mean,
well, it's kind of a mini fridge, but yeah.
I mean, we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know. I don't really have I don't have a lot of opinions on that topic, to be honest with you. I don't really feel like it's my I don't have an expertise.
You're just excited for the future of gaming.
I think I continually am, and I try and present that as part of what I do. So yeah,
and that's dope. And that's dope, and we love that too. Because I mean, like I said, I feel the same way in regards to just.
I mean, I'll talk shit about both, but more about the other one, obviously. But and that comes down to just the more whining I hear. So I mean,
because ultimately, like when we're sitting down and we have these games, you got these consoles in front of us. Nobody's gonna have that thought at all. Nobody's gonna be thinking about that at all. Like this shit.
I wouldn't say nobody.
Well. There may be.
They're going out of their own damn way.
You're going out of your own damn way to do that because I don't know a single person that's gonna have that thought when they grabbing that game, popping that plastic off, or taking that whatever console out the box,
leaving their sticker on.
Exactly, whatever the case.
I don't know about that. Every time I put a game in, I'm kind of like, man, I wonder what mechanics didn't make it into this game.
I always wonder, like, damn, could I be playing this on PC?
Yeah, I know, right? Come on now, none of us are having that thought. Like, man, I wonder.
I'm like. God, I hope this game works. That's a 40 gig patch. Fuck. Yeah, that's I hate that. Like this morning, I tried to play Black Mirror because Xbox was having an issue. I couldn't update the game to play it. I downloaded the game and couldn't play it because there's a fucking update. I'm like, fuck you, Xbox. I literally said that this morning and went and played Borderlands 3. I mean, it's not like I don't fucking curse out the system I love. Fuck. I mean, shit. If we ain't critical of things we love, then we're just word.
Hey,
I mean,
that's a real strong
cuddle with. You see my gamer score? Come on now.
This bitch keeps me warm.
You should be in my office right now. I'm starting to sweat.
You know how it is when you pop open a new game? You know how it is when you pop open a new game? They got all those facts on the side of the box, letting you know what was not put in the game due to hardware limitations.
This game did have some flight, but of course it had to be coded for the Ouya, so that was taken out.
And then, nice segue. We're gonna go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz. Just get your opinion about. I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, when nobody's having these thoughts when we sit down and actually get these things in front of us, nobody's looking at features that weren't there or whatever, you could have added in later. So where you at with this, Fuzz?
I think I trust the devs enough to know what they want or what their vision is for the game. So perfect example would be like with Dying Light. Originally, I was looking forward to Dying Light on my PS3 back when I was just a PlayStation guy. They kind of delayed the game. They delayed it some more. And then they were like, you know what? It's not going to be available for PS3 or Xbox 360. We're going to focus on new hardware. And I wasn't upset because at that point, they had already delayed it enough to the point where that hardware was out. And it kind of made sense. Considering how many zombies were in the game, how big the world was, the transition between the different cities and stuff like that, it was worth them postponing it for just the new hardware. But then you have a game like Forza Horizon 2, where they had the devs make two different copies between the generations, and the one for the previous gen just wasn't really up to par in comparison to the one that they launched for the Xbox One. So it's one of those things where if you look at like the Xbox One X versus the regular Xbox One, everything can just be ramped up as far as the visuals. And like Dealer said, it's not the visuals that are going to be held back. It's going to be things that are above and beyond what the CPU of the Xbox One can handle. So if you're talking about 3,000 enemies on the screen, running at you or something, yeah, okay, that's understandable. They may have to scale it back. Will that hurt the game, or will it really hold that game back? I mean, unless you're trying to play a bigger and better version of World War Z, which World War Z, amazingly enough, runs really well on the current gen hardware.
I mean, they did it with Shadow of Mordor, remember?
Yeah.
They did not put the Nemesis system, which is very CPU taxing because of all that
material.
They ripped that out of the 360 version of the game.
Yeah. So I trust that these devs know their vision, know the game, and know what their limitations are, and can work around that. I just basically look forward to what's going to be available for the Xbox Series X. It might be able to be playable on my Xbox One X, but if I'm getting the new hardware and they're going to turn up the visuals, if they're going to turn up the frame rate, I'm all for it, and I'll just focus on that. I'm not going to worry about the previous generation console. It's not like any of us are really going back and playing the games that we've been playing on our Xbox One X and trying to play them back on our regular Xbox One. But
Fuzzy, what's the point of getting a Series X if it's playable on the Ouya? What's the point of getting a 2080 Ti? What's the point of getting an OLED? What's the point of getting a better headphone? You want a better experience. You want why you get an SSD? I want it to be faster, bitch. What? It's obvious, right?
Yeah.
Don't worry about someone else's money for one. You're weird if you're telling everyone there's no point in getting that. All right, then mind your own fuckhole and leave everyone else alone. They can buy what they want. But if you want to buy a better graphics card, you want a better car, you want a bigger engine, that's something people like. They want more performance, man. And the load times alone, holy shit.
Exactly. I mean, tell me about it. And the funny thing is, people treating this as like it's a Wii situation. Like, remember the Wii? When the first Wii came out compared to the consoles that were out. Remember Call of Duty? They literally had to they stripped Call of Duty to like bare bones. Call of Duty was GoldenEye when they put it on the Wii. Like, it was GoldenEye. It wasn't Call of Duty. It was GoldenEye. The Nintendo 64 GoldenEye on the Wii. Like, this is not a Wii situation where these games are so far, so different. Like Dealer was trying to say is that it really would essentially take something that probably wasn't even capable to put in the game anyway, for them to either consider taking it out. Like, in
the next 2 years, right? Like, gameplay design will not eclipse.
Exactly.
All that.
Exactly. So no, that goes to your point. So Centurion, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up with you. How do you feel about that, man?
Oh man, well, I don't got as much swagger and knowledge as Dealer, so he kind of swooped a few things from me. So I'm just like, all right, I will pivot. But no, like he was mentioning, like with the whole flight thing from Horizon Zero Dawn, the Nemesis program being lacked between the Xbox 360 version and the Xbox One version of Shadow of Mordor. If it wasn't for this digital age that we're, slowly creeping into where it's becoming a norm, you could say there might be some limitations, but now that these developers have the ability to patch these games on the fly, we all know when you put a game in your Xbox One S that is Xbox One X enhanced, you don't get the Xbox One X enhancements along with it. You just get the standard stuff. But when you put it into an Xbox One X, that's when it patches itself and it downloads all those Xbox One X enhancements to kind of bring the experience up on that game to what you paid for on the Xbox One X. So I see that being the same thing with the newer games that are going to come out on the Series X. You're going to have that patch that's going to give you the experience you paid for, and the other consoles aren't going to get that patch because they're not a Series X. And the other thing is, we got to remember that all the games that are going to come out into the next year or two that everybody seems to be crying about, like, oh, there's going to be no true exclusives for at least the first year or two. They've already been in development. They were being developed because it's not like Xbox and Xbox and Sony and Nintendo came out and said new consoles are launching on this day in like 6 years. It's just like, so these games have already been thought up. The mechanics have already been figured out. So yes, the mechanics were made for the limitations of the hardware that we have right now. But going forward, I don't see them starting a new game tomorrow going, well, let's pretend the Series X doesn't exist. Let's just make everything for the Xbox One X. It's not going to be like that at all. That's why I'm just saying, like, when I saw the article that we're not going to have no true exclusives and this whole scalability shenanigans, I was totally just laughing it off, unaffected by it, because one, I've never been bothered by bad graphics. Come on, I'm a big movie fanatic. Have you ever tried to watch some corny sci-fi? I mean, always. Always. So come on.
Super down for the corny.
I love that shit, dude. That's the best.
Same here. It's the best shit ever.
Like, some people love like really bad horror movies. Goddamn, give me some bad sci-fi movies.
For real. But that's the whole thing. So I'm just like, these games have already been in development. They were made for the limitations of the hardware that we already have. And I don't really see this being a big problem.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't ultimately at the end
So
of
you
the
have
day-
eyeballs. Confirmed.
Oh, dude, the minute I saw that whole article, there's going to be no true exclusives for like 2 years, and I'm like, and the sky is
Don't you
blue.
like how they spun that?
Oh, dude,
He's
Oh,
like, yeah, for the first year or two, maybe. You know,
And
our
they
games will
also-
run
but they
across
were also
all
very clear
Xbox.
that they're going to focus heavily on one or two titles and showcasing them on the new system. And yeah, they'll run on the old one, but they're going to showcase those two games as like, this is the capabilities going forward and make sure it's done right. So that's a brilliant move in my opinion.
When that article came out, it should have read there will be no exclusives for the first year or two. By the way, the sky is blue and water is wet.
Terrible.
It really should have been called Microsoft plan on supporting Xbox One for 1, maybe 2 years after
And
launch.
I don't
That would've
see
been a
why
better
people
title.
like that is the most pro-consumer thing. It's not like, hey, we're gonna put all our console gamers that have invested in the ecosystem out to pasture because they've got the older hardware. Yeah, you guys are screwed.
But the people complain about this, and then in the same breath talk about how they drop support for the original Xbox so quickly.
Stop.
Right?
There was a big
Stop.
leap
They
between
did.
OG
They did.
Xbox
They
and the
talked about
360
Microsoft
though.
drop support
Yeah.
for the 2001 Xbox or
Yeah, we're
whatever,
not
right?
doing that. We're not doing that. Nobody's walking around with a pager anymore. Like nobody's. We're not.
pager.
Oh, that's
We're not-
lies.
Because when the
I-
360 came out, they pretty much stopped making everything for the original Xbox,
Exactly.
right?
Well,
and I've heard
everything- the
several
UI
times
changed,
over
they
this
brought
whole
an
generation
achievement
how they drop
system.
support so quick, and now they're mad that Microsoft are actually scaling things like they are.
Well, it's just like broken games are pushed out lead times, and no, it's fickle, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So let's
I
go
mean,
ahead.
and like the Xbox to 360 was such a graphical and like hardware change too. Like, and they changed the
Everything's
UI,
x86 now.
and achievements came out. I mean, they're not even giving us achievements on Xbox games. I mean, it's just we've been asking for that. And they're like, it would be incredibly hard to do that. So, I mean, it makes sense that they left it behind.
Can you not blame them for what happened with the original Xbox? Yeah, it was a great console. There was some really good games. Yeah, it dropped support quickly. But when their competition switched over to graphics like that, you obviously don't want to be known as having the inferior product. So you kind of had to change with the times, whether you wanted to or not.
It was you had different architectures, right?
Yeah.
360 was Power PC, right?
Mhm.
Both PS4 and X1 are x86, right? And for the first time ever, you're going from x86 to x86, right? Which is that machine language
Exactly.
that pretty much all PC uses. And that's why everything can be scaled and carried over and ported so easily. People are just, again, it's just like Xbox One X before it came out, fear mongering. It's just like xCloud. Oh, they're not going to give us an option. It's just like the Gears 5 campaign. It's just like the smoking in Gears. Every single thing that people can run with for negativity.
I remember when the X came out, dealer, everybody was crying that PUBG Battlegrounds was going to run at 60 FPS while the other consoles were at 30 FPS.
and they wanted you to be held back on it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Turns out
they
the
were
developer
like-
was just smoking crack, but yeah.
Yeah, but then they were like, "Oh, there's going to be an unfair advantage," and then you find out
While they're holding their Elite controller and their fucking OLED and their $300 headphones. Yeah,
well, not only that, but they found out the actual real advantage was the people who had the inferior console because when on the X, when the grass loaded for you and you were hiding in the grass, on the S, the grass hadn't loaded yet, so
Yep.
you're basically out in the middle of an open field.
Well, the setting on the S, the draw distance was lower and the foliage level was lower. So there was just less grass out there. So to them, you were just crawling around on the fucking ground like an idiot, thinking you're a snake. And to you, you're covered in bushes and shit, wearing a ghillie suit.
Crazy,
You know?
crazy. So let's go ahead and transition to the last topic of the show, man. It's been an amazing show so far. So once again, everybody, right now, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate the love and support. Hit that like button on your way in as well, man. This thing has been live. So last topic, and this is actually a really, really cool one. This actually kind of wraps everything up we've been talking about so far. And this one is something that I feel like needs to definitely be talking about because people don't seem to understand the difference. So we're talking about engagement versus sales. Now, this is something that recently was talked about on Twitter as well. Shout out to Mikey Barra. And this is something that I kind of took from a quote that he put out in response to somebody saying something about where he plays and where he purchases his games and why he's only buying certain consoles and things like that. So essentially, too much. We're not doing that, man. We not.
Sounds like someone's giving themselves the Heimlich.
Yeah, I know, right? Terrible. But either way, basically stating that we're looking
Put
at
down my flip flops.
the day and age of just these where it's A, B, and C, where it says, hey, sales equal this, sales equal that. Those days are over. We're talking about engagement. These companies want you in their ecosystem. Does not matter where you're playing at, what you're playing on. As long as you're in the door, you're in the same building. That's all they care about. They want you in the door. They want you playing games. They want you buying their products. Because I always said it's business 101. If you can get somebody in the door, there's a chance you can get them to buy something. You get a good review, they'll go and tell somebody else, and they come. So essentially that's just how it works. And I don't know why people are making it, a big deal out of it and still want to be stuck in this old way. Well, you got to have these super high quality exclusives. Yes, that is true, but that is only a piece of the pie. So I want to talk to you about this as well, Dealer. We'll start with you here again. What do you think about, him basically saying, look, as long as I'm in the ecosystem, that's all that, he was talking about.
That's all Mike's not give a shit about, yeah.
Yeah, so he was basically saying, hey, as long as we're in the door here, it doesn't matter where I buy these games at on Xbox and play them. So do you agree with that?
It's like Walmart. They don't give a damn which one you go to.
Yeah,
just buy something from there, and the whole company, it's the same damn thing. They just depositing more of them, so you're more likely to go to Walmart.
Exactly.
So xCloud being on pretty much every 4G enabled device, right? You're looking at something that when it launches officially could quadruple the entire install base of Xbox over the course of a month. And that's possible. Now you're looking at anywhere from 50 million jumping up to 200 million install base effectively. And whether or not those casuals stick around, that's not the point. They want to be everywhere. And that's why. And the more money they bring in, the more revenue they bring in, the better for them to reinvest, as they have already shown us that they're doing. The revenue would mean nothing to me if they hadn't shown us that they are reinvesting it back into over doubling their studios. And this is just the beginning. They've already boosted and bolstered Game Pass quality. The title, all the titles have definitely gotten better over the past couple of years. And they've shown us over and over that we're going to build the best hardware. We're going to double down on the software as well. We're going to give you a pro consumer service in the form of Game Pass. And guess what? Game Pass itself is going to pretty much subsidize a lot of this. Mm-hmm. So they can afford to maybe take a risk on a game they don't think would do so well, because Game Pass is bringing in that revenue and it can eat into some of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're more flexible now. Yep. And again, I said this on Iron Lords, but I'm hearing that they might actually reveal numbers for the first time because it's doing so well.
Really?
And if they did that, and that's not even what I was talking about at the beginning of the show. Mm-hmm. But yeah, because it's doing so well, they might actually reveal those numbers. And, the management there are very, very happy with the performance of Game Pass. Is just the beginning. Wait till it hits every smart device, right? Like Netflix. It's all just the beginning.
Okay. All right, Stag. It's on you, man.
I don't think either are more important. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, sales are important because they're all in the business of making money. But I think you get more sales with more engagement, So, I mean, granted, good titles bring people in, but I think Microsoft has done a great job connecting with their fan base, and it's that's kept us excited. That's kept us around, without those AAA titles that everybody clamors for. Business models, sales is more important, but I mean, business models always change. I mean, at the end of the day, they're here to make money. So
think about it too. Like on hardware, traditionally, they've taken upwards of $100 loss.
Yeah.
On a lot of the hardware sales, and that's great for us, right? I don't give a fuck about their money, right? Unless they're showing me that I'm getting it back through games or better stuff or whatever. Again, they can build X amount of Series X's knowing that Lockhart is going to be the sales leader. They know that. The X1X, they didn't build nearly as many as the S, and it was still a very high quality product that was more powerful than its competition and ran quieter and cooler at the same time. It was very well designed. So even though it sold less, they're not really taking. I hear they're breaking about even on that thing when they first came out with it. They didn't really make any money on the damn thing. They are selling you that car at essentially what it costs to make it, so you can buy the gas, right? The games is what they make their money on, and that's another reason Microsoft do not want everyone to just only do the streaming thing or the services thing, because Microsoft make a big chunk of money on every single copy of every single game that is sold on Xbox Live, just like any other digital means.
And they make more money off those digital games than they do off of physical copies, because if you notice, Like shit, 2-year-old digital games are still almost full price, and it pisses a lot of people off because they're like, oh, I can just go to GameStop and get it used or brand new cheaper. But that game was already paid to Microsoft at full price from the retailer, just because you're getting it on sale.
The price of it,
yeah, exactly. But if it's digital, man, you're going to pay $40 to $60 a year or 2 years from now until they decide to put it on sale, and they're still going to make money off of it.
Yeah, that's true. It's all about business, man. It's all about being versatile. And I like the fact that you use that word because that's really what it is, dealer. It's the versatility of the brand because people talk about Xbox. Traditionally, Microsoft be this real rigid, old brand. And, they didn't really get with the times. They can't be fluid. Now we're seeing this change. We're seeing this new Xbox. This fits right along. You were just talking about Game Pass. People didn't believe in that idea at first. Matter of fact, there was one guy at Sony who said the backwards compatibility wasn't possible to do something like Game Pass at one point, and they pulled it off anyway. So the fact that the first Indian over the hill always gets essentially gets all the bullets, then everybody else comes along and says, "Oh, that's
you say the first Indian over the hill gets all the bullets."
And that's
that's an Arizona thing.
Let's keep
that in Arizona.
Yeah, I know. No. It's an analogy. Sorry about that. I know
Native American. I'm kidding.
No, but
the tallest tree. The tallest tree catches the most wind, but that's not quite accurate either, right?
Well, no,
I get what you're saying.
As far as innovation goes, Xbox, they take a step or 2, 3 forward. A lot of us don't get it, but it makes sense a year or two later on, like Game Pass. A lot of people didn't get it. Well, how's that supposed to work? Now it's a staple in gaming, and every other company is doing the best they can to get something like Game Pass going. Look at it. Look at PS Now. Essentially, they've tried to take that whole model and turn that into a Game Pass-like service. So,
and they made it cheaper too.
And they made it cheaper, on the end. So that's competition once again. So let's go ahead and throw this over to Fuzz. Make sure you get in on this as well, man. What do you think about between the two? Engagement, sales.
In the industry I normally work in with aftermarket automotive parts and things like that, engagement is king now. Sales always used to be the thing, but it's like if you sell something to somebody and they just buy that one product and they never come back, you don't have anything really to grow off of until hopefully that person either buys another vehicle. But the engagement now, whether it be through social media or through events like car shows, things like that, if you can get the person coming to the shows, they might buy a hat or a t-shirt, or they might buy some of the scratch and dent items or some of the new items that you have readily available, and then they'll come to the next event, or they'll check your website out, or they'll be on social media for a contest, and you get their name to send them a catalog or an email newsletter, and they see a part for their vehicle that they wanted that you have on sale. More than likely they're going to pick it up. So engagement is always one of those things that companies nowadays, especially in this .com or beyond .com era and social media era, it's more important because you're going to build off of multiple sales as opposed to just the one and done type of deal where the person buys the product, that's it, you never hear from them again. You want that customer to keep coming back, even if it's just to buy like little small items, whether it be like for Xbox, like a controller. Yes, they do a lot of different controllers, but there are a lot of people that buy more than just one controller because they like the look of them, or they like that particular game, or they are into collecting them. So peripherals, games, all of that, you want the engagement so you have returning customers that build an account, and then that hopefully locks them into your ecosystem to continue to purchase from you. So that's just my take on it.
All right, Centurion, let's get to you, man, before we wrap this thing all the way up.
I'm a more of a engagement kind of person. Like, I understand console sales are important, but at the same time, I will never forget the photo I saw of somebody who literally had a basement full of PlayStations. How does that, I'm just saying, like, yeah, we've got 106 million sold and half of them are in someone's basement, not even being used. So I'm just like, definitely, I have always been one of those that appreciate the fact that Microsoft, at least in the past before they changed it, was giving us active users and stuff like that. So the size of the online community that you're getting into. God, I can't really go in too much outside of what all you guys have gone in on yourselves, because Game Pass is great. You're all making great points. The engagement, like, I can't really top any of that.
We want your opinion, Centurion.
My opinion being that this is why I'm with Microsoft. This is why I'm with Microsoft. I like a company that is engaged with me just as much as I'm engaged with them. They're a very vocal company. Like, they're active on social media. They're just not like at the top of this Microsoft tower, and they're just like myths and legends. You don't know who they are. Everybody knows who Phil Spencer is. Everybody knows Aaron Greenberg, Matt Booty, Mikey Barra when he was there. Everybody,
and they play the games.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's where, I have been a total fan of how Microsoft does things, because of that is why I like Microsoft. They are a company that, marches to the drum of their own beat. I mean, the beat of their own drum. And that's what has sucked me in to being an Xbox gamer, because I don't feel like just a number to them of like, oh, you bought a console, here's a number. No, they know I'm a consumer. They want to keep me engaged. They've given me products like Game Pass. You were talking about games going on sale. I haven't really had any problem with finding good deals on games. They have sales every, what would you say, 2-3 months?
Yeah, something like that. I'd say
sales every week.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, every week.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm just, they definitely have a very good system going on. And, by having Game Pass come out, it's going to get those, for starters, who live in, because let's face it right now, the Xbox is sold in almost half the regions that PlayStation is sold. So, right there, PlayStation already has an advantage. That's why they have 106 million sold, because they're sold in almost twice the regions. And some of these regions don't even have the ability to have Xboxes in them due to geographic problems and just getting it over there. So by having streaming and a data center, you're able to now get people into the Xbox ecosystem so they could see what they've been missing out on. And for those that haven't been in the ecosystem and enjoy it and have the ability to get an Xbox, are now going to be like, hey, I enjoy playing in their ecosystem. I want to take this to the next level. I want to get an Xbox console and really play these games, because streaming is going to have its limitations. There's always going to be a bad day where lag is just spiking everywhere. The resolution isn't what you want it to be because of whatever's going on. And by having local hardware, you're going to get rid of all those problems. And all xCloud is an entry point, a gateway to get people into the ecosystem, to make them want to grow themselves in that ecosystem.
So I agree. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up with that, man. It's been a great show, great topic.
Sorry, I didn't mean to ramble on.
No. It's great. It's great. We appreciate
well
it.
Said, Centurion. Good job.
No, absolutely, absolutely, man. So we appreciate the love and support today. Hope you guys all enjoyed the show. I will make sure I go around the panel, let everybody know what's going on, where everybody can find you at. So we will start with you, Dealer. I just want to say, as a host of the show, appreciate you taking a little bit of time out, man. Coming on to the show this weekend, spending a little bit of time with us. Hopefully you had a good time as well yourself. Let everybody know where they can find you at, brother.
Yeah, first and foremost, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button here, right? Hit that like button, share this out for us, help us out a little bit. It's kind of a big day, there's some fights going on, people are gearing up and stuff, but anybody who checks this out after the fact, thanks for the support. Everyone here, thanks for the support. You guys power everything that we do. And I just want to say that first. Secondly, if you happen to give a fuck, you can follow me at Twitter at dealer_gaming. And of course, YouTube Dealer Gaming, where I try to release about 2 videos a week, maybe 8 videos a month is about what I hit. So yeah, it was a good discussion, man. Good group of people. It's good to kind of meet Staggerilla. I've interacted with you on Twitter a few times, not on there much, but
I'm way more ridiculous on Twitter than I am here. So
it's okay. I think we all are.
We all
right?
are. Yeah.
It's all eccentric bullshit when it comes down to it.
Yeah, it's just fun,
But yeah, that's it was a good show. And again, I think Microsoft might have an absolutely massive announcement this year. I'm about 80% on that.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about, I'm like, should I even fucking say it? Because I don't know. And I'm not, maybe I'll kind of tell you guys behind the scenes.
Okay. Okay.
But there's some big stuff going, man. And Microsoft, they're not fucking around, because they're finally 100% more dedicated about gaming than they've ever been. which has always blown me away when people say they're trying to get out. Like they're all about the services, and Game Pass is a service, true. But Sony has had PlayStation Now for years longer than Game Pass has been around.
Yep.
It's the same damn thing now, except for Sony had more games in it. They do. They got hundreds of games, like 400 games you can download or some shit. So, they've been doing this stuff, and Game Pass will take stuff from that and learn that and link their xCloud into Game Pass and all that stuff. They borrow from each other. But when it comes down to it, Microsoft have never invested more. They've never had more titles in development. They've never been putting so much R&D and development into the hardware to do things that, frankly, no other console is going to do this year. And, they make good stuff, man. So I just want to see that. I'm a big fan. So that's why I demand better and better and better. Not that anyone else doesn't, but I just want the best. So.
Nice. All right, man. No, awesome. Glad to have you on. Glad you taking some time out. You've been fucking amazing. Go check out Dealer, man. Please go check out everything he's doing. The show, man. What do you got? I think recently you hit a milestone, right? You hit a recent milestone or no?
Wasn't
it like 60K? 70K?
Subscriber. Yeah, we hit 60K on the channel. Yeah. And again, that number would be useless if none of them checked out the content. So shout out to everyone who does check out the content. It's kind of like a console install base, right? You could have 60 million consoles out there, but if only 10% of them check out a video, right? Quotes, right?
Yeah,
then none of them are going to do that well. But thankfully, I've got a great community around me and behind me, and this community in general is awesome. And again, shout out to everybody who's helped me hit that. Never thought it would be a thing. So, and awesome. Shout out to everyone who watches RDX as well.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Stag. What's going on with you, man? Where everybody can find you at?
First and foremost, thanks for Dealer being here. It was great to listen to you and hear some factual knowledge for a change. Not that we don't have that here. I'm just saying I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. I don't watch a lot of YouTube videos about gaming and stuff. I just kind of read what I read and interact where I'm at, and it was just really refreshing to hear your take and the stuff you had to say. But on that note,
sir.
Yeah, thank you. You guys can all find me on Twitter being a dumbass as usual. And then Monday through Friday, unless I take the day off because of an appointment, you can find me streaming on Twitch at Staggerilla, streaming them indie titles pretty much at 9:15 in the morning. And some evenings I play whatever. I am going to start. I'm a little bit, I don't know, but I am going to start Death Stranded, and I probably will be streaming that, and I will give my unbiased opinion about how I feel about that game. So I will be doing that soon. I just got to get the PS4 up to the office and set everything up. I bought a new shelving unit to set my consoles up on, and this office has been a non-stop work in progress for the last year. So yeah, I'm excited. But yeah, just catch me here on Saturdays and catch me streaming once a week and non-stop on Twitter.
All right, that's awesome, man. Appreciate you. So once again, guys, go follow him on Twitch. Go check him out. Everything he's doing, man. Live streams, he already gave you the time. So appreciate you being on Stag. Integral part of the show here. Let's go ahead and throw this over to Centurion. Let everybody know what's going on. You any new videos cooking up, man?
Yeah, I'm hoping to have a video out Monday morning. I got one cooking up right now. I definitely also want to thank Dealer for being here. Any show I get to do with Dealer is awesome. Like I said, he's kind of helped guide me through this whole thing, introduced me to you, got me on the Shoppodcast. I mean, I'm very grateful to him and you, PTK. So definitely thank you to you both. And as always, you guys can find me Xbox Live, Twitter, YouTube at Centurion1307. I'm also found here on Saturdays, Shoppodcast. I'm also on TXR on Sundays. I'm also on Saltiest Gaming Podcast on Thursdays. And yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. It's been an awesome show.
All right, awesome. And last but not least, the smooth operator, Fuzzy Belvedere, man. What's going on with you? Let everybody know where they can find you at.
Well, awesome show, guys. Great being on here with Dealer. Glad you were able to join us. And man, just awesome show as usual with Stag and Centurion and you, Blam. You can always find me on Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere, Xbox Live at Fuzzy Space Belvedere, or PSN Fuzzy_Belvedere. Usually on Xbox playing either Division 2 or Forza, and on PlayStation. Well, I haven't turned it on in a while, but I'll probably get back to playing some GT Sport again. But man, great talking topics with you guys. Always fun being on here.
Awesome and awesome. Last but not least, the host with the most PTK Blam across the board. Come play with you. Come play with me on Xbox Live. PTK Blam once again on Twitter as well. Hit me up there. I made sure I put everybody's Twitter names down in the link. I made sure I put Dealer's channel name as well as his Twitter down in the link as well. Down in the description. Sorry. That way you guys can all go follow, go see. Want to make sure you guys are engaging with the gentleman here. But I appreciate you guys coming out every single week. We will be here again, same time, same place next week. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a good one. We'll see you next week. Peace out, everybody. Take it easy.
Take care.